Realtors, I've made over $1 million closing deals where not only did I get paid a realtor commission, but I also got paid a $10, $20, or $30,000 wholesale fee on top of my realtor commission. In today's video, we're going to talk about exactly how you can get paid a wholesale fee on top of your realtor commission. We're going to talk about how all the legal side of things work. We're going to talk about how all the paperwork needs to be structured and how you can find a brokerage that is perfectly okay with wholesaling.
As a licensed realtor, so what is the specific legal consideration do you need to keep in mind when you start your wholesale business? You're doing the wholesale, right?
Yeah. So, if I'm understanding the question correctly, you just want to know, hey, being a licensed agent, how does the legal route kind of work with wholesaling, correct?
Yeah, and basically, when you enter a brokerage, and what is it you need to do to separate your wholesale business, from the being an agent?
Yeah, great question. So one, you're going to want to find a brokerage that is investor friendly.
Yeah, for
So a
sure.
lot of the traditional brokerages, they're very focused on traditional real estate. They're focused on we buy and sell, we help people buy and we help people sell houses the traditional way, such as, conventional loans, FHA loans, cash purchases, whatever, but they're not really, focused on wholesale, fix and flip, subject to all of those things. So I would say, hey, I would not join a brokerage like that. Not that those brokerages can't be great, because I mean, there's a ton of successful realtors there, but you're probably not going to be a very successful wholesaler if you're going to a brokerage that does not allow that. So first, I would say I would just recommend finding an investor-friendly brokerage,
Hmm.
and there's a ton of them. Like it's if you're in a major city or even if you're in a smaller city, I'd imagine, but I can speak for sure on major cities. You're in California, I'm in Las Vegas and whatnot. You can find investor friendly brokers there in like 5 minutes. It's not a rocket science. Now the second thing that I would do is always disclose what you're looking to do. So let's say, for example, if you're negotiating directly with the seller. Okay. There's no
Hmm.
realtors, there's no realtor representing the seller. Um, we always disclose absolutely everything. So examples of certain things that we disclose, both verbally and in our contracts as well. We always disclose, hey, I am a licensed realtor. Okay. And number two, we always put in there as well that they understand that they may not be selling the property for market value, that they are selling it at a discount, and we are purchasing it or we are assigning it with the intention of making a profit. So those are the biggest disclosures that we put both in the contracts and that we say over the phones.
Okay, well, that's a great point. That's a lot of people don't know. That's why I know some realtors, they just don't want to get into it. They're afraid of to get their, licenses suspended. And so how did you start it?
Yeah, I mean, one more thing that I'll mention about the license thing. So
Hmm.
if you're using, at least here in Nevada, if you're using the state approved contract,
Hmm.
in paragraph 16, it actually says that you cannot assign the property unless otherwise stated in that contract. So what we do is we just make sure we state it in that contract. Typically in one, sometimes in two places. So the first way that we do it is by and on the very first page, the first line, where we're putting the buyer's name. So I'll put my LLC and or assigns. Okay, so I can be the buyer or it can be somebody else. Now, sometimes if we want to even go above and beyond and spell it out to them even more, in the additional terms, we will write it out like buyer is allowed to assign this contract. We don't typically need to do both. One or the other is usually fine. And and I typically prefer to do those on market anyway, because there's a realtor looking out for that seller's best interest as well. So the way that we operate our business here is always full disclosure, full transparency, on
Yeah,
absolutely everything. And
yeah.
I mean, hey, to answer your first question of like how I got started, my first 36 deals were all wholesales, or they were mainly wholesales. Some of those were fix and flips, but they were mainly wholesales, and they were all off of the MLS. So I found a property on the MLS, got it under contract under market value. I put those clauses in there that we talked about, full transparency with the seller, with the listing agent, with the buyer, with the title company, with everybody. And that's just been something that's worked well for me, not only in business, but like in life as well, right? Like if when I went to go talk to a girl when we were 14, I was like, hey, my intention with this conversation here is to see if maybe we can hang out after school, right? Like maybe we can go sip on some lemonade. So I think as long as you're just being transparent with your intentions, I think that's gonna get you pretty far. So that would be my biggest advice. Like, hey, if you're a realtor and you're kind of concerned about wholesaling and the logistics, just disclose everything, do good, honest, ethical business, and you should be good.
Let's say I'm a realtor, because my goal is to assemble a team together. How can I make a commission also a wholesale fee? So
Easy.
what kind of wording do you put on the contract?
Yeah, so it's actually super simple. So what you do, let's say you find a property on the MLS that you want to wholesale, okay? Um, and you put it under contract for what's median home price where you live?
Over here is close to 800. It's
Wow.
around 79. It's
Okay.
pretty high.
So let's say 800,000. 3% of that is what? Probably somewhere around like 20 grand, I think. Let's see. So
Yeah.
3% of 800,000. 24 grand. Goodness gracious. Okay. So let's say you have a buyer who's willing to pay 800,000 for a property. Um
Over here, people were willing to pay around 700.
okay. Cool. So let's say you find someone willing to pay 700 for a home and you make an offer for 650,000 and you get that offer accepted. Okay. What you make the offer as if you were the buyer. So you put it under
Okay.
your name, you put it under your LLC, you do all of that. Okay. Next, what you do from there, you find the buyer. Once you
Okay.
found the buyer, you're gonna have that person sign an assignment agreement
With me.
um,
Okay.
with you. So you're gonna be assigning the deal from your LLC to their LLC. Okay. And let's say you have it at 650, you're gonna assign it to them for 700. So you already have a $50,000 assignment fee built in right there, but you're also representing the buyer as the buyer's agent. So when you close, not only are you getting a $50,000 assignment, but you're also getting paid a $24,000 commission. And a lot of the deals that we've done, I got an assignment for wholesaling it, but then I also got paid a realtor commission as well.
Okay. Wow. Well, that sounds pretty good. Because if you have the knowledge, you can help wholesaler and help the buyer, seller at the same time. Why not?
Right. So
Right?
so that's how we facilitated a lot of these transactions and we know we call it double dipping it. So we get paid as the wholesaler and then we also get paid as the realtor, even though we're not really representing that person as a realtor, we're just kind of representing ourselves. We still get paid.
Okay. So your deals is you found the deals from our on the market from MLS?
I mean, that's how I found like my first 36 of them. Um,
Okay.
Thank God we've done a little over 100 now. They weren't all on the MLS, but the ones that were on the MLS, I mean, we found a lot on the MLS, and the ones that were, we typically, got commission and an assignment.